is Hazel's character sheet and starting notes. We have finalized her sheet, unlike your sheets, which we will scribble in as we go.
Yep.
And those were for making the characters. This is a useful bit of information, I think, for both of your characters.
Yep.
All the first level clerics.
Nice.
But I believe each of you gets 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why would I?
No, I had 4 actually.
Why would I get clear?
Oh, right, you're the fighter assassin.
Yeah.
Okay, right. It's okay,
Yep,
so that's
it's
fine.
mine.
All right. And here is something that I'd like us all to have. I guess I should have. I might actually have failed to make enough for me to have, because I need it too.
We can share it.
Yeah, I think we'll have to. This is a handy sheet regarding combat and ordering and things like that. Every single version of Dungeons and Dragons has a completely different ordering system. So this is unique to this version of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Let's finalize 1 or 2 more things before we jump back into the death and destruction.
The drowning.
Death and destruction, yeah. And the fact that I get one thing not to do.
Oh.
Get one job and you failed.
No, I didn't.
You opened the box.
The box failed.
I didn't
Kind of yourself,
open the
yes.
box. Technically, I didn't
You're
open
bad.
the box.
This is like an IT people.
You were bad at the box. I get the enemy and assumed you
I
would
had to
have
weaponize
repercussions.
it.
As you can see, last week's session was a little bit eventful.
I am drowning.
As
For
Two-
somebody drowning, you have a pretty verbal.
you're
Or 2
talking
people
about
drowning.
No, I'm not drowning.
But I am.
That's
The
right.
first thing that happened, I fainted.
I'm afraid you and the sea hag did not get along.
No.
Oh yes, I forgot about that part. I completely forgot.
Let's just
Yes.
check on a few things, okay? So, a high-ranking priest kind of person, official of the Church of the Ineffable Disruption of All Being. One of the great 2 churches. The other one being the Eternal and Fundamental Ordination. Well, the high official at the first church has dispatched 2 expendable agents for the purpose of recovering a box which has been stolen from the church archives. No, wait, that's not the case. Yours was where the church where the box was stolen. This fellow wants this box back now that it has come to the light because it belongs here, and they had, as it were, one job to get the box back unopened. And your rules and your job in regard to whoever had the box was to dispatch him, correct? To get rid of whoever else? Or not?
No,
or
no.
was it sort of agnostic toward whoever had the box?
The box was important, not the guy.
I think it was they prefer the guy alive,
Right.
but if he were to die, who cares?
Okay. Now, your instructions from the Church of the Eternal and Fundamental Ordination were a little different.
Yeah.
Which had to do with make it all go away.
No box, no,
Right.
no beef.
Right. No box, no Philbus,
Yep.
whatever it
Yep.
takes. Right. So,
No agent.
right. Yeah. If and so they all ended up at the outskirts of the city in an area that's being reclaimed by the ocean, so nobody really uses it anymore, except for smugglers. And this is the inroads of the ocean creeping through what used to be a city plaza and along the edges of a rather impressive pyramid structure with stairs going up like they do. And a thick-walled fortressy structure over here, and And they've already noted that whatever it is that's moving around in the deeper water there, they want nothing to do with.
No.
And tracking the people that they were respective, two different groups, right? Your character, these two. Just for play, I just said, all right, you've all ended up here. We've filled in some backstory of the person who has the box. Philbus, you two have already been to his place.
When neither he nor the box were.
Now, you, I'm going to fill in yours a little bit more too. Remember the woman who was there
Yes,
with Philbus?
the quotation.
You knew who she was.
Yes.
Her name's Mila.
Okay.
And they Milla, and she is a person who you would not expect to see in her underwear in an underground temple, you know, in the up to, well, she's actually walking on the water, but otherwise up to their waist in water like you guys are. So yes, and you know that you had found that she actually is the person who has kind of kidnapped Philbus or forced Philbus to come here with the box. So you know that there's another player in the mix. To the two of you, you're like, who is that lady? But you have been to Philbus's place, unfortunately not in time to see her take him out of there. But you know that he left that place in a big hurry, and his own mansion, everything. So that kind of fills in a little bit, not much. Okay, some more bookkeeping.
Is the camera around?
Yes, it is. Because that's another thing that happens. I can be a good role player, or I can be a good logistic manager, and rarely both. Let's get a few things more clear about your character. Which spells do you have memorized?
At the moment, I have just the evil versions. I have Darkness, Cause Light Wounds, Command, and Curse.
Okay. And then, as for you, do we know what kind of weapons you have?
Yes. I have a dagger gifted to me by the church.
Yes, all of you have the holy daggers.
Yes, I have a long bow with a total of 20 arrows and a long sword.
Excellent. Now, regarding the two of you, I don't think your characters are utter idiots. When you went into the knee-deep water, going down these stairs in this fortressy place, then you proceeded down into the knee-deep water and were trying to track Philbus through here, finding a little room over here with a pedestal in the middle of the room, sticking up out of the water, but nothing else about it. And over into here, and remember your infravision is especially good with sources of heat, and there isn't much. So it's kind of, you can orient better than a person with just ordinary sight, but it's not great. But regardless, not wanting to give yourselves away, you didn't light up a lantern or anything like that. Now, when you went down these stairs and had to get into waist-deep water, as I say, your characters are not fools. I strongly doubt you would have taken your longbows and your quivers.
Didn't even take it on the mission.
Okay, so you didn't even bring it at all. Okay, so if you want, there's no reason to say that you couldn't have found some projection on the wall and just hung your stuff there as at least some better option than getting it wet and making it useless.
Yeah. I found a ledge or found a like loose tile that just
Absolutely.
hung out there. Just don't want to get anything wet, and I grab it right on the way out later.
That's exactly the way I see these ruins. I mean, just look at them, right? through these beat up old ruins. You've got to have pieces sticking out all over
Yeah.
the place. So that's what I was thinking about that. Now, this is perhaps a little bit advantageous to you on my part. But since we just jumped into play willy-nilly last time, just to get some dice rolling, one thing we could do, in all fairness, is to look at the money you have left and say, what have I got in my pockets?
All right.
And think of some things that you might have brought because you're not an idiot, especially considering that you knew eventually that you were going to go over here to this ruined portion of the city. And you may have brought some useful things. That's all I have to say, and you had the money for it.
Yeah.
No reason not to allow a little bit of leeway here that maybe what you have in your pockets is not entirely
I have
useless.
difficulties reading
Okay.
with or without the glasses and this light, so do you mind if I do it later?
Later is fine, but let me see if there's anything here that you really want. Thieves' picks and tools.
Yes, if I can afford it. And
30 gold pieces. They're expensive.
30?
30.
That's okay. What would the length of, well, some kind of, oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. It's like a little wallet that you open up, like a leather wallet, with little.
Yeah, like one of those little tool photos of
exactly.
whatever.
That's exactly
Lock
it.
picks, whatever.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Okay,
right.
27 left.
Mm-hmm.
Rope?
Rope is a good thing. 50 feet of rope is only 4 silver pieces, so don't take anything
Okay.
off. When we're all done, we'll knock off a gold piece for all the various silver pieces. There's 20 of them in a gold piece. Unlike the previous version of Dungeons and Dragons where it was 10, 10, 10, copper, silver, gold.
I like
Right?
that more.
Yeah, well then we bought this and all of a sudden it's like, wait, what? Silver? What happened to silver?
Oh, a different monetary system.
Thanks. Okay, so anyway.
I think that is, given that we are in a city, I don't think I need a water bottle or anything like that.
You don't. The
So-
question is whether you would have brought a light source at all, like maybe a tinderbox or something like that. But a tinderbox.
I'd probably carry a tinder
Right.
box which would get wet and also.
Well, that's an interesting point. The tinder is wet,
Hmm.
but flint and steel work anyway.
Yeah, do you have flint and steel? Because
In a
prefer-
tinderbox with flint and steel, it says in
Okay.
all its glory right there for 1 tiny gold piece.
I'm gonna get
Okay.
that.
Everyone else is thinking,
Wouldn't
Yeah.
it be sensible for a setting like this to have somewhat watertight tinderbox though?
I don't find that unreasonable. And the idea that you would have at least perhaps found a flap of leather with oil or something and put it over it or something like that is not entirely ridiculous.
Because like that would be the biggest reason to have a
Right.
box to store tea, because it's a rainy night, I need to light my fire.
Exactly.
Like,
There's
oh,
also a
just-
question of things that you might want to light fire too. Personally, torches, the classic dungeon carry torches, that is ridiculous. You realize how cumbersome carrying around a flaming brand is, right?
Yeah.
I
Absurd.
prefer
Candles,
some kind of-
however,
Hmm.
are perfectly suitable for having to look at something. I mean, it won't light up a whole room or anything, but if you need real light, a candle or two is not a bad thing. They cost a whole copper piece, so pay no attention. Have a
Do
few
you have
candles.
some kind of lantern?
Lanterns. There are 2 kinds. One is called a hooded lantern, which is sort of a basic one. It's got a cover so you can dampen it, and that's 7 gold pieces, and a flask of oil that goes in it will last like an hour, I think.
And will cost me for much more?
1 for a flask of oil.
I think I'll do that.
Yeah.
Together.
The other lantern is called a bullseye lantern, and it's more expensive. It's 12 gold pieces. And the key to a bullseye
Correct.
lantern is that you can set it so that it will project a single beam of light out.
Yep.
So you can actually spotlight
Yep.
things with it.
How much?
Yeah.
That one's 12.
Worth
Okay, plus the oil.
Yep.
All right.
13, I guess.
Correct. few other things that you maybe wish you have, like a little small raft. Well, you didn't have time. And the let's see, the rest is, yeah, we're not worrying about clothing or anything like that. Not unless you wanted to purchase like a special piece of clothing for some purpose later. Then we would have the costs here, but we don't need to worry about that now. So those of you, first of all, you guys are welcome to look through these books. These are vintage
Very much like
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons from 1977 through 1979. Purchased in my middle school, junior high years.
Oh, so it's your childhood books.
Let's take a look a little more at this. I think I may have overstated the depth before. Knee deep to go down in here. And that's the same color as all this is knee deep, and you've traversed this. When you went down here is where it got waist deep, and that's where your bow is. So everything after that is waist deep, except for that inside that chamber, where the floor is all broken up. So all this is waist deep. So that's as far as you guys have had to go until the scuffling began. As I recall, you had gone here, correct?
I think so. I
And
kept to
you had gone here, correct?
Yeah, could be, yeah.
And I think you two might have been together.
Yes, Henry went after the box, which he ended up opening. And I went after Philbus to take him.
So what has happened is that you are in trouble because you were, of course, not foolish enough to get into the chest deep water. But upon being terrified, paralyzed, and seized by the Lacedon, you have in fact been dragged down into there. At which point, in many cases, we would say, well, you know, I really don't think he's coming back. However, things changed in that last moment of play. Things changed dramatically when you grabbed the box very skillfully, like a fighter thief should, and then you grabbed Philbus, perfectly reasonable to do.
Yes.
Especially because at the moment the Lacedon and the hag and everything had no idea you guys were there. So you were all able to set up properly and do that. Then the initiative reversed.
Literally.
And I think what it is basically, I think the Lacedons basically just popped up around you all. And you're like, whoa, where did these guys come from?
kind of.
Right. And so, and as I said, they're like drowned corpses with fangs, right, coming up from the water. It's not a pleasant moment, especially when they start pawing at you. And so that's when the two of you get paralyzed.
Yep. And
so you are not in immediate drowning danger, although you could be if nobody tends to you. And you have been dragged down. And you, of course, as we know, got actually into hand-to-hand combat with a Lacedon and fended them off with the box that you happened to be carrying, and then the box failed at saving throw, pops open.
I got bitten, I think, but I
You
didn't
did
get paralyzed.
Yes, you did get bitten, but not paralyzed. And also, let's clarify a thing here, that right here at the end is where Mila is standing on the water. That the hag is actually some distance back, closer to you, and is actually partly emerged from the deep hole water, at the edge of the deep hole. So she's kind of in the middle.